relationships, trauma, philosophy, relationships, trauma, philosophy. Balls Deep.
Hello and welcome to episode 35 of Balls Deep.
Welcome.
Actually, we may not be balls deep for much longer.
No, which is a sad reality, really, because we love the name of Balls Deep. But what we have found is, we want to grow this podcast, and there are a lot of Balls Deep podcasts. Yeah, so
There are, and they range from sports to all sorts.
porn.
Yeah.
There's a two girls. They've stopped their episodes now. I was an avid listener. No, I just
Gotta
know.
check out the competition.
You've got to, yeah. But most of them have stopped. Our biggest rival through YouTube is the podcast isn't even called Balls Deep. They have an episode called Balls Deep.
Oh.
But they're like a Korean podcast show. It actually looks quite interesting. But they're Korean podcast show. It looks like they just interview and sort of talk about anything. There doesn't seem to be much rules to it. But they're quite popular. But they always come up on YouTube. And Spotify, we just don't really come up. Like, even when you search Balls Deep, we don't come, which really irritates me because we're the only Balls Deep podcast that posts weekly. No other Balls Deep podcast posts as regularly as us. So it surprises me.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
So anyway, we're making a tactical decision to change the name for SEO purposes because there's just too much competition.
What's SEO, Scott, for the listener?
Search engine optimization.
Very good.
Yes.
So yeah, if you listen to our podcast, please share it with a friend.
Yes, please do. We want more listeners.
We do. So maybe we'll put a poll in the chat. Maybe we won't about a name change, but within the coming month, we will have.
Yeah, within the next one. I mean, we've already shortlisted a bunch. We've just got to, decide on one. I'm sure we'll come up with a few others either the next week, and then we'll lock one in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, exciting times, sad times, but exciting times.
Sad and exciting. I'm not sure what we do. Yeah, well, we'll think about all the tactical things we need to do, but yeah, we'll keep all the same channels, but just the names will change. We won't create new channels and everything because we've got all our episodes here, but we'll just rebrand.
Rebrand, exactly. Just a shift in identity.
Shift in identity, which I feel we all go through at some point in our life.
We do. It's just reaching that next level of maturity, isn't it? That we will have a new name in our podcast.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a lot of companies going through rebrands at the moment. I won't go into this too much because I know may bore the listeners, but because of this whole AI wave, every company wants to attach AI to their company now because it's very valuable to both the consumers and the investors. So every company's rebranding right now.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah, including the company I work for. We're about to start a rebrand.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, we made the decision actually last week. We were resisting it, but after we went to a big event called Manifest in Las Vegas. It's the biggest tech event in US, and it was clear to us we need to rebrand.
Wow.
So that's a job and a half I've got to do.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. That's very interesting. I look forward to talking about that more off of the podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry, listener.
Yeah.
Well, we are in Saudi Arabia right now. We're in Riyadh. And some interesting things have happened since we've been in Riyadh. Not least of which, Scott has ran another marathon. He's now 2 for 2 in one each month this year.
2 for 2.
So how would you say? So Scott did the Dubai Marathon in January, and I was just a spectator then. this time I decided to join in and do and do
did.
4K.
You did. You
they tend to
smashed
do-
it.
Yeah, well, I don't understand why. So most running events, if they're going to do different lengths, they'd have like a marathon, a half, a 10K, and a 5K.
Yeah.
Whereas I've noticed in the Middle East, they seem to do 4K fun runs rather than a 5K. I don't really know why. And people, like in Riyadh, it was very much encouraged to walk it if you wanted to. And loads of people did, you know, like groups, families, carrying shopping bags, just getting involved with the 4K, which was a little bit annoying because then you couldn't run it as easily. But also it was quite nice because the event was like organised by Sports for All, which seems to be a Saudi Arabian organisation that really encourages people to get involved in sport no matter what. Like, you know, they don't care about your fitness level, they don't care about how you're doing it, like just get involved, which I thought was quite nice. But how would you compare your two experiences of running marathons in Dubai and Riyadh?
Good question. Yeah, because of that inclusivity, I've never experienced a marathon to be that inclusive. Usually, you know, people join a marathon to run it. So Dubai was more, you know, your standard marathon, where everyone's, you know, going fast times. But like you said, Riyadh wasn't. So it was strange. The marathon runners, most of them were running. I say that, a lot of them did stop. Yeah. It's the most in a marathon. It's the most people I've seen walking and the most people I've seen sitting on the side of the street injured or, you know, stretching or whatever. So, but I guess you're going to get that if you're going to say, you know, everyone come and have that branding, which it clearly did of joining naturally. You're going to have a lot of people that haven't trained properly and not quite at the fitness level and blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know. It's a tough one for me because I really respect it when I see, you know, when I'm like, you know, if I'm driving and I see someone running and, you know, they're quite clearly overweight, but they're running. Like, I really respect it. Like, I really respect people just getting out there and doing it. But as someone who runs a lot, for people, I don't know, there's a part of me that feel like they're not taking it seriously when they're just like, because it was clear some people like went there to just walk. And, you know, I don't know, it's a tough one for me to argue in my head because the competitor in me gets angry in that because they're like, you know, you should train, you should really give it your best. But then the other part of me is happy that it was more inclusive. So, yeah, it's a toughie. But I think it is good at the end of the day. It is good. It is good at the end of the day. More people exercising is always a good thing. And, you know, it was really nice. What really turned me was when I saw children usually with their fathers. That was really nice. Like, you know, they were just like willing them on and jogging with them, and some were doing more. Some were doing like, I don't know, some might even been doing a marathon because they were running the same tracks as me. I don't know. Yeah, because the marathon took off, went down different roads and stuff, and I'm sure I saw on some of those roads father and son. So yeah, they were really going for it. So I really respect that. I hope to do that one day. Son or daughter. And then from a running point of view, Dubai Marathon is easier. I did find it hard just because I felt I'd just come off the back of Christmas, so I was a bit more unfit. But Dubai Marathon, from a running point of view, is easy because it's just really flat, and it's just very simple. Whereas Riyadh has slight inclines, no severe hills, just a few inclines and long. Yeah, so but both nice races. It was cooler in Riyadh, which was appreciated.
Yeah, but you got horrendous sunburn.
Yeah, that was my fault. I I don't like stopping when I get running because I like to carry on the momentum. But I should have stopped and put sun cream on. We were in a bit of a rush because the organisation was a bit confusing. It wasn't clear at all where we needed to be. Basically, even the start line and what they call a village, it's like the base where you finish and, where all the food vans are and everything, were in two completely different areas. So obviously you start on a start line, but they didn't want anyone to stand at the start line. Instead, they wanted everyone to go to the village. But to walk from the start line to the village was like an hour walk. So everyone was walking it, and I'm just like, what the hell's going on? And people were missing their time slots. So what happened is luckily someone picked us up halfway through. They just saw us and were like, guys, you're going to take ages to walk. And they drove us to the village. But it was kind of daft because we got to the start line, well within time, and then we got to the village, and then we had to go straight back to the start line.
Yeah, which luckily the walk from the village, it would have taken us ages to get because it wasn't accessible, was it, at the time in the morning that we were there? But when you all walk up from the village to the start line, that doesn't take an hour.
No, there's a cut through which we weren't made aware of. And I don't know if we were allowed to even take, but it was kind of quite poorly organised, that aspect, because everyone was being dropped off at the start line, and everyone was making 45-minute hour walk to the village and missing their time. So, and
it's not what you want before a marathon either, is it? To put in extra steps in.
No, and then when they got us to, it was really weird. And then there was this pre-start line in the village. And they're like, oh, and there was a set time that would let us go and walk back to the start line. And they kept saying, come on, guys, run, get there quick. I'm like, what, fuck off?
Yeah.
They were telling us to run to the start line. Are you joking?
They should really make that village start line the start line. I don't understand.
Just make that the start line. Or, yeah, exactly. It makes a lot.
Well, I will say why I do kind of understand why it wasn't when I saw the amount of people doing the 5K. Going up, it was a festival mosh pit. Going, just keep going, to get past the queue of people that were waiting. I mean, and then they had signs saying you're in the next wave, how many waves until you go. So they're setting off people for the 5K in waves. So they do 3, 2, 1, and then they go, and then we'd all kind of shuffle forward for a bit. Wow. And then there'd be a sign saying you're in 8 waves, you're now in 7 waves, you're now in 6 waves. So there are a lot of start times for the 4K. Sorry. So
did your queue snake all the way back into the area where we were walking through from the village start line?
It didn't snake back, but it was there was when you got up there was the start line, and then there was big metal barriers going quite some.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. The majority of people were doing the 4K, they had the highest number of participants. I don't know if I told you this, but I found a wall that had everyone's name on it. I've taken a photo of our names.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So yeah, that was fun.
It was nice. The village, it's the best running village we've ever experienced.
That was great. I got so many freebies because I had 5 hours to get between you starting and me starting. So I just went around and got all the freebies. It was great.
Yeah, you got 6 months worth of vitamins.
Yeah, so Centrum were there. That's I don't know if we have them at home, but we've seen them loads in Asia. So they were giving out free vitamins. And I was like, can I take some for my husband as well? And they gave me an extra packet. There was this company called K&E, and they're from what I understand, an all over wellness company. They do fitness classes. I think it's just for women. That they do supplements, they do clothes, yoga gear, all sorts, skincare. And they gave this insane gift bag. It had got iron supplements, beetroot supplements, probiotics, MCT oil, a body mist, a body lotion,
Wow.
a granola bar, and then a voucher for a free fitness class. And they were all like full size. They weren't just like sample size. Like I've got a month's worth of vitamins.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool. So shout out to them.
Yeah, and you wouldn't find that in the UK if when there's running events, they wouldn't be given that level of freebies.
No.
They'd give you like, a head, banner or, a cap or something.
Well, some of you lucky to get a medal, aren't you?
Yeah, some of you lucky to get a medal. Here you get a medal, and we went back with a shopping bag, didn't we, with free stuff. Shelby's great at finding her freebies. She gets a lot of enjoyment out of it.
I do. Well, I was telling you the other day, wasn't I? used to go to the jobs fairs at uni, even for industries I had no interest in working in. Like, one was like, I don't know, I guess what it was, like maybe like the one that I specifically remember going to is a logistics company in Yorkshire Water. It was like companies that I had zero interest in working in, but I went to every table and got any pen I could get.
Nice.
I've got one company, I got a triangular highlighter where each point was a different colour. I love that. Got water bottles.
What do you do with all this stuff?
Stick it in my stationery drawer. I've still got half of it from uni.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, gotta love a freebie.
I guess so.
Yeah, it's wonderful. But I really liked it. For the first time, you were waiting at the finish line for me.
I was, yeah.
Because even though we've ran races together in the past, it's like you started, then I started shortly after finished, and then could be there like for you at the end. But this time you were at the finish line waiting for me. How did that feel?
It was nice. It was nice that I got to see you come over the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
It was really nice. I had the camera ready. Because on Live 360 you were close for ages. But then you would start going away again, so I was like, it's not always clear when you're going to rock up. And then I saw you get really close. Like, okay, so you must be up here in a minute. But I got one gripe.
What's that?
You didn't come up and say hello.
Because they kept going. They told me to.
Shelby glanced at me, and just sprang off.
Because they were like making us, like they're saying keep going. And I felt I should have, I'm sorry.
No. Oh, fair enough. I did, when I was recording, I did say that to Fogo. Shelby will follow the rules, and they've just told her to keep going. And
I'm rubbish. All I wanted to do is come and hug you, but also we're not allowed to hug here, so.
No, I just thought that, actually, no, we couldn't have even done much, could we?
No, I could have walked up and stood and looked at you.
Yeah,
high-fived you, maybe.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So yeah, I am sorry. I really felt like I wanted to come up, and I felt so happy that you were there waiting for me. But then I had to blooming do another chuffing 4K to get around to see you.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's quite far to get around. And you miss your Gatorade.
Yeah. So I paid for a Gatorade in the village earlier in the day.
Yeah.
But then they apparently handed them out near the finish line. And we did manage to get some more free Gatorades when they were packing up, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
So that's a really good tip, right? If you're in like a marathon village or like anything like that, then at the end, like when they're about to be closing, they just seem to want to get rid of all of the stock because they must have like targets or whatever to get rid of them. Particularly the ones that are giving them out free anyway, like Centrum in Dubai. We got a really cool canvas bag, bottles of water, vitamins. I don't think we got vitamins that time. But they will just, if they've got freebies to give away, they'll want to get rid of all of them. They don't want to take them back.
Yeah, they just want to get rid of the stock.
So you can get plenty of stuff.
And that, it's interesting because they put so much stock, which is really admirable. It shows, they believe in the product, and if the product's good, then people are going to come back. It's a strong tactic, and I respect it. Where they slip up though is hiring people that have no clue about what they're providing. So many times you'll go to these stalls and you'll ask questions, and they know about they know answers to the first two,
Mm-hmm.
and they can tell you a very basic script, and then if you ask one other question, they just flap.
Yeah, it's just like they've been recruited en masse, isn't it, to just by a promotion company, I guess.
I would for those companies, what I would do is I'd put someone from the company to review. I would work with different agencies who supply staff, for that specific reason, and for the first 6 months or whatever, I would implement someone who's just to review their performance, because you'll finally find the agency that gives you stuff. They might be at a more premium cost, but they're able to actually pitch your product correctly, because time and time again, well, it's every stall I go to, unless it's someone from the company there, which a lot of the time isn't, even in big business events, even at Manifest, the amount of times I went up to stalls and they could barely articulate what they even do. It's you've spent nearly 20 grand to be here, and you're not going to be able to articulate to someone the investment you are putting in, plus your flights, plus your hotels.
Yeah, you can't just be a face there, can you?
No, it's a big investment, especially for the smaller companies. So it's just, and that would eat the CEOs up. So I don't know. That's just a tip to the companies out there. I would have someone in part of those stalls for a while just to review until you find an agency that is providing the stuff that actually know what they're doing.
Well, I think that's a good idea. And I suppose the tough thing with that is maybe you just get a good bunch one time, but equally could you provide? Yeah, I guess if you were going to work with the same agency frequently, then you could say, look, your staff need to do this training before they come.
Yeah, just try different agencies and obviously put them through the same training, but you'll still find some agencies. You'll find some agencies will make the effort to really train their staff, or hire people that are a bit more motivated, a bit more switched on, and others that are cheaper and aren't. So just test lots of agencies until you find the one that has the most consistent workforce.
Yeah.
And go, okay, this agency, yes, it's a little bit more premium, but their workforce is way more consistent. Boom, that's the one you stick with.
Yeah. And I imagine that is so because they might cost a premium, but they'll probably pay their staff higher, which is why you get that higher quality.
Exactly, which is well worth it, because otherwise you're just giving free product out for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Which I guess with some of them, like Centrum, they didn't... to be fair, actually, at Riyadh, she was quite... she told me about it, that it's immunity, that it's vitamin C, and it's zinc. She told me those 3 things, and then just gave me 2 packets of vitamins.
Yeah, they need to articulate more, why do I need zinc? You know, what's the negative impacts of not having zinc? Throw some figures out of, percentage of people who have lack of zinc and what that then causes. Just some extra things, and then be ready, that would add a lot more value. Because then you're going to take whatever you've been given more seriously. It's not just going to be wait, I got a freebie, let's go grab some more.
Yeah.
Because then it's just a freebie, and then it's not meaningful, and you're just going to use it because you've got it, and then you'll forget about it.
Yeah.
Especially vitamins,
You take any brand, you're not going to be loyal to a brand necessarily unless you've got a reason to be.
No, you're really not. So, yeah, it would have to be a really standout product without any pitch, which is going to be pretty difficult.
I mean, that at the end of the when the village was closing, the amount of people waiting for those vitamins, do you remember? And
that was a massive queue.
Pallets practically, people were taking trays of them.
Yeah, I'm surprised that, I do admire that about the companies that they will give that much out. I've not seen that, so I think that is a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe they go a bit too much, I don't know, but if you're going to go that much, then get some good staff selling it, because the amount of money you're giving away, I mean, they probably gave away 2-3 pallets worth.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
bonkers
product there. So you want people who are, and they weren't even talking. They were just handing it out.
Yeah, they were just like blooming, get it in a can and launch it to the back.
Yeah. For me, there has to be a bit more involved than just handing it out. But anyway, I think we should stop talking about business.
Well, I think we're going to have to start wrapping up because we're 25 minutes into this episode.
Jeez Louise.
So I reckon we should do our travel segment and first impressions of Saudi Arabia.
What's your first impression of Saudi Arabia?
That's a great question, Scott. My first and probably lasting impression of Saudi Arabia will be no expense spared. And I think that ties in with what we've just been speaking about, where the quality of things is just really high. Like every single business sign looks brand new. Like it's neon. Like there's no restaurant stands out as being like having an old sign. No sign really stands out as being individual. It feels like everyone spent the same amount of money on their sign, and it's a lot. Like the free things that you're given, the quality of like, and I've noticed this in the UAE and Oman as well. Like even things like plastic bags. We're used to like really shitty bags now that are biodegradable, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but like the bags here, like will last forever. They're like a blooming as thick as a canvas bag but plastic, and that I just feel there's a lot of convenience in that. Like everything feels high quality. Like water bottles at home now, like you only have to squeeze them and you've squeezed half the water out because they're just not sturdy. Mm-hmm. Whereas here, like it's a proper bottle that you could reuse probably. Not that you're supposed to reuse BPA bottles, but do you know what I mean? Like I feel like everything is of a very high quality and no expense has been spared. And that's including expense to the environment, which, isn't a good thing. But in terms of user experience, it's great.
That's a good point.
Yeah. What's your...
That's a good point.
Your first impression of Saudi Arabia, Scott?
See, I don't know.
You don't know?
Well, I want to be positive, but it's negative.
Oh, that's okay. Mine was quite positive.
No. But it's changed. Mm. It's changed.
Well, it's a first impression. What's your first impression?
People were less welcoming.
Mm.
They were less welcoming and less helpful. Like there's been... Full disclosure, we've been here for more than a week now.
We have, although the podcast may not reflect that. Is that what you mean?
No, what I'm saying is that the first week, we found it quite difficult to get people to like just support us. So, just a basic thing like where's that restaurant, or, where do we register? Where can I get some coffee? People wouldn't really give us any insight on where it was. It was just like, they were just sort of casually just point in one direction and go, there.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what do you mean by, there? Like,
yeah.
What exactly does that mean? I can't see it. And then they, there. And I'm like, well, what do you mean, there? They're like, what the fuck? So I found that quite irritating the first week. People, I don't know if it's because we're not local, but they felt less welcoming and less helpful, I mean, this Airbnb is a great example of that. Anything we've asked for, they've just said that's not possible.
Yeah, including a working microwave.
Microwavable plates.
Yeah, they've given us plastic ones that literally have burnt and melted.
Yeah, all burn and melt, so no plate we can put in the microwave. Yeah, from the shower to not going hot, to etc. But so that was quite irritating. But now we've been here a couple of weeks. People are helpful.
Yeah, well,
I don't know what's changed.
Yeah, because it's not like they're getting used to us because they don't know us. Like it's different people. But
no. But when we go to the more attractions, people are very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, we've met some lovely people like in
the
Boulevard City, which, I mean, we're going to have to wrap it up in a moment because I've got a lesson to get to.
Okay, let's wrap it up. But yeah, we basically, I think, yes, people are welcome here. We just, maybe first impressions weren't good, but they are.
Yeah.
You've just more on average, maybe make less of an effort to welcome. It's not that they're being rude.
No one's been bad to us. Or
they're
anything
just not gonna go as overboard as you're probably used to.
Yeah, like Oman. I think it's maybe in contrast with Oman, where everyone was like so interested in being like overly helpful.
Exactly. Yeah.
So maybe it's just like a bit of culture shock in the difference of that.
They want to be with that. Whereas here, if you ask them a question, then sometimes you've got to ask a couple of people, but you will get the answer. But they're not gonna be, oh hi, how are you? Blah blah blah. Anyway, there we go. We've got to end it.
We have. Well, that's a very interesting insight, Scott, and I think it's good to know like that we've seen that change as well. That it's not just people who are rude. Like, so they've not been rude. It's just like
no,
not helpful.
Just it's strange.
Yeah,
but that's a good thing about traveling.
You learn these
things.
Yeah. Okay, well, we would like to thank you for taking a break from your day to get balls deep with us. Until next time, remember,
stay ballsy,
dive deep, but don't forget your
snorkel.
snorkel.
Balls deep.